Okay, I'm doing this video because I saw an interesting post on LinkedIn from a very good guy that I know really, really well. And long story short, basically there was a death in a bar in Australia where a guy was restrained and is now being a comment made by the coroner that all bar staff should be trained in restraint. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is the guy that posted that actually said, I don't want to profit from anyone's death, but if you need any help and assistance, I'm offering my services to you. And that got me thinking, because he's a really, really good guy, this guy. But why is it that we feel ashamed or we feel reluctant to offer our services, in the event of a tragic death like that, when that's exactly what should be offered? Now, this particular person I know really well, and I would estimate that he's spent in his lifetime more than the average cost of a Master of Business Administration's degree course in getting to the point where he's at now. He's one of the most knowledgeable, intellectual, experienced guys in the industry. And by the way, the cost of an average MBA is $75,000, in case you're wondering. So I don't think this person should be reluctant to offer it. I think they have an absolute duty. They have an obligation to offer their services, because the bottom line is, if they don't offer their services, then other people will offer their services who may not be up to the standard of this person, and we end up with poor information being given out there, not sufficient information, staff trained badly, and we get another restraint-related death. So that's the point of this post. And I've been in this industry now for 30 years, and I hear the same thing over and over again. We have an industry in some areas where there's a stack it high, sell it cheap mentality. Now, if you're going to stack something high and sell it cheap, that means your profit margins on each thing you sell are limited, which means you can't invest heavily to get your product or your service up to a decent standard, because you'll spend all your profit and more doing that, particularly if you're investing in yourself. Also, I hear, and this is a bone of contention with me, I hear people all the time say to me, consistently, I want to be the best. I'm out there to be the best. But here's the thing. They won't invest in the best when it comes to their own personal and professional development. They'll go for cheapest option. So they go to the stack it high and sell it cheap community, and they get that sort of training. And you know what I'm talking about, okay? If you buy cheap, you're always going to buy again. A good friend of mine, John Stedman, always says that the most expensive thing you can ever buy is a cheap pair of shoes. And it's the same with this industry, okay? If you buy cheap, you're going to have to buy it again, because you're not going to get, generally speaking, the standard of service or product that you want. And if you think about this, what happens with these people who want to be the best in the industry, but they want to only pay for the cheapest training for themselves? They don't invest in themselves. They don't invest in their own professional and personal development. Now, Warren Buffett, who's one of the most successful investors in the world ever, and you know the answer to this, he was asked once, what's the best thing that I can invest in? And he said, yourself. Invest in yourself. Because if you invest in yourself, your return on investment in terms of where that will take you is exponential. I'm 60 years old. I'm still investing. I bought a $2,000 course this last week because the guy who's delivering it is at the top of his profession in what he's doing, and I'm doing that course now. I could have got the same course from someone else for $300. No, I went to the guy who's the best in the industry because I want to learn from the best so I can up my game. And it should be the same for everyone. You've got to invest in the best. So if you want to be the best in the industry, but you go for the cheapest product, what happens? You end up investing in yourself in a cheap way, and you end up being the second cheapest person in the marketplace, and your strategy is to try and undercut the other cheap people that are out there. So we have this continual cycle of not being able to invest in your product and services, so you can deliver an inferior product and service. It's just fact, just the way things evolve. And also in relation to that post, in the bar post where the gentleman was killed in Australia, why shouldn't that guy sell his services for a decent fee? Because that bar is making money off people who go in there, who spend money in their bar, buying alcohol and whatever else they sell in there. And one of them died because they didn't invest in staff training, or probably didn't invest in staff training. I'm presuming they didn't, because they didn't know what to do. And the guy died from being restrained. So companies and organizations are out there to make profit, but they also have to look after their staff. Now, years ago, I was asked by one company, they asked me, they came to me and said, we'd love to use you. You come highly recommended, etc., etc. How much do you charge? So I told them. They said, you're way, way too expensive. And I said, actually, that's not a reflection on me. That's a reflection on how little you actually value your own staff, because they weren't willing to invest. And they said, well, someone down there is offering this for, a quarter of the price that you could do it. Go with them. What happened, fundamentally, was they did. Something went wrong, and in the end, they had to redo all that training again and pay a lot more for other things that went wrong as well. So my message, it might rant, if you like, to the person that made that post, and you know who you are because you're a good friend of mine, is, take your light out from under your bushel, shine your light, let people know you're there. I know British people hate to blow their own trumpet because it's called showing off, but at least go and buy a bloody trumpet and start blowing it. Make some noise, because if good people, if competent people don't get out there and sell their services, and again, I'm going to say this once again, it's not that you should be doing it, you have an obligation to do it. If you are the best at what you do, you have an obligation to serve the people that can benefit from what you do. Otherwise, everything you've invested in yourself to get to this point has been a waste of time. And if they can't have you, they're going to go for second, third, fourth, fifth best. You have an obligation. That's your purpose. Okay, that's your mission, if you'd like. I know I sound passionate about it because I am. I came into this industry to serve people. I came into this industry to keep people safe. Yes, I'm not the cheapest training provider out there, but I'll tell you what, I will go beyond. I will go way beyond. I will add extra miles on to what I'll do for my customers and clients. But I need a return on that. I need to have something back so that I can keep reinvesting in myself and reinvesting in our business so we can serve the people we serve at a much higher standard and with better quality and better value. So hopefully, my good friend, I hope you got the message. And for the rest of you out there listening to this, do the same thing. If you invest in yourselves, get a return on that investment. Because the other thing is, just to finish on, it's also a reflection on how much or how little you value yourself. The price you offer for your services is a reflection on how much you value what you do, and also how much you value your clients and prospective clients. So, don't be the cheapest person out there, and there's certainly no benefit in being the second cheapest person out there. You're only going to serve 3% of the population. If you want to know more about that, then when I launch this marketing course that I'm about to do, you'll learn more about that too. All right. That's enough from me. I think I've got the message over. Sorry if it sounded like a rant, but I am passionate about this. Good people need to go out there. You have an obligation, but charge a decent price for what you do. And don't feel like you're showing off. And for goodness sake, do not feel ashamed or have to feel the need to apologize. Because if I count up the amount of money that I've spent on getting to where I am now in my career, I've probably paid for half a dozen MBAs, if not more, and loads of you out there have done the same too. All right. Have a good day. Speak to you soon.